Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds and we are back for some more Thronebreaker, and last time we completed probably the single least intuitive puzzle we've ever done. We got a treasure map, and we also welcomed is maybe a strong word, but chose to have a group of druids who were very suspicious join us in our party. That, I still feel like, is very likely to backfire in a significant way, but we are going to find out. So let us proceed here. And this is also a totally not creepy stone circle that I think the druids had referred to. Does anything actually happen here, though? That looks like the settings gear. Maybe if you stand here and press the settings button 3 times. No, probably complete coincidence. Okay, let us proceed. As for where we want to go, well, in through the woods, apparently. Also, ooh, okay, hold on. Fast travel spot. There is also what appears to be it's not often we see a notice board outside of a little town. Is that what this is? Oh, no, it's, okay. Just a letter. This is a logging zone. Any attempt to impede operations will be treated as sabotage, thus subject to punishment of the highest order. Alright, well, it's Count Caldwell, Steward of Angren, by Imperial Decree. Okay, I can already foresee what's going to happen here. I think what's going to happen is we're going to run into some people who are doing just that. They are logging in this area, and they're going to be all, we have a right to do this logging because via this decree from Count Caldwell, we are supposed to be allowed to do this. However, because we did just bring those druids on with us and making some inferences there, but I'm assuming the druids are very pro-nature and very much against things like logging, because that means cutting down the trees. So that's going to put us as the middle people, trying to figure out which side do we take. Do we support the loggers, or do we support the druids? And given how the loggers, I mean, yes, they are the locals in one way, but they are, if their authority is coming from Count Caldwell, then I think we may choose not to side with them and may opt to side with the cultists instead, because I am very concerned about what might happen if we make the cultists mad at us, because they seem powerful and they seem very suspicious. They would probably be more than willing to cause us a lot of harm if we were to do something they did not approve of. Perhaps more so than lumberjacks could, but I mean, who knows? So, I'm thinking, oh, okay, hold on. So we have 2 battles here that we know of. We have this point of interest here. The battles, on one hand, I kind of want to try to delay them to the extent possible, because our deck is still not that strong for this area. Of course, we haven't crafted a single unit, and so I think that, in general, whenever we get to a new area, the longer we can wait before doing encounters that require we use our own deck, the better. This just gives us a little more time to power up our deck, and that could prove useful before going into a couple of battles here, and I have no idea if this point of interest is going to require that we do a battle, or if it might be something entirely different. I might guess that could be a logger's camp, where perhaps that very situation that I was anticipating we might encounter could come to pass. I mean, technically speaking, if I'm looking at the map here, we might even be able to, for the moment, at least, ignore these things, come back to them on a later occasion, if we thought that it was more intriguing to go up north and east. It seems as though we can still make it through all the way up here into this odd-looking area, or down further this way, which I imagine is the main location, because that leads us toward the main quests. So that is the quote-unquote right way, whereas these are, I suppose, technically all side quests. Maybe we try the point of interest. Maybe we just nab this loot along the way, though. Don't remember what, if any, thresholds we were trying to reach before. So we're at a decent number there. Oh, there's a shrine. We are on high morale already. This feels like a place where there would be a chest hidden. What is over there? Hold on. Is that where that other battle is? What is... Hold on, what? It's not that. What is at the end of this little pier? It's a person. That looks like Nilfgaardian armor. That makes me very suspicious. Yeah, I also don't want to make sure... I want to make sure we don't accidentally go into this. So as I was saying, I'd like to delay that a little bit if possible, but... I'm also intrigued by... In general, stuff tends to be hidden in corners, it would seem. Okay, but what is your deal? I think you're wearing Nilfgaardian armor. It's black and yellow at the very least. Let's see. Your Majesty, look what the scouts have found. A Nilfgaardian hiding in the shadow of a bridge. He looks like death, spotted head to toe in sores and scabs. He claims he deserted a week ago and is looking for a boat to sail south back home. What shall we do with him? What do you think? Tie a stone to his feet and toss him in the river. That is cruel, brutal, but it does raise our morale, except we're already on high morale, so that doesn't really mean anything. Okay, notably, it does not seem as though there's a neutral approach here. Because if we say nothing and let him go, that lowers our morale. So that's obviously negative, or at least makes our morale neutral, and then we could turn around and pray at that shrine to get back up to high morale if needed, but... Otherwise, he shall join our ranks. Someone must be in the first wave against enemy lines. Also low morale, but gain 1 recruit. None of these are great. Yes, the high morale might usually be nice, but it doesn't mean anything to us when we're already on high morale. And then, if not that, then it would seem as though the bottom option, to have him join our ranks, is just a slightly better version compared to the middle option, which is the same thing, it just doesn't give us the extra recruit. Unless he also tries to backstab us, or his sores and scabs spread to the rest of our team, and that causes some sickness to spread, and we lose recruits, or who knows what else, or, you know, he does something else to betray us. I really don't know. So, surface level, this seems like the right answer. The question is, how deep does this encounter go in terms of the long-term implications? I'm kind of hoping this is still a relatively minor thing, so I think I'm still going to go with this and assume that this does not backfire on us, because I assume that the Druids was a much bigger deal compared to this guy. I assume that if there is something, of all the things we did recently, that could backfire on us, it would be the Druid encounter. More so than this. I mean, I suppose it's still possible both of those things could backfire, but we shall see. Is this... Oh, it's Nilfgaardian troops. So that is definitely a Nilfgaardian flag. Okay, so it's... Even if it is a lumber camp... And, okay, that's exactly what it is. It is not a neutral lumberjack camp. It is, at the very least, guarded by Nilfgaardians. It did not say battle, per se. It might still devolve into that. We may want that shrine, but we don't really know just yet if we absolutely need that at this point. So, let's try this. Let's see what happens. Okay, we don't have to engage immediately, so we can take a closer look. There are definitely lumberjacks, and it just seems like the Nilfgaardians are supervising. Probably, like, the Nilfgaardians came here in the first place because they needed additional wood to supply their army, right? So that would mean that this is technically an important operation for Nilfgaard, and the primary reason why they're here in the first place. But the actual lumberjacks themselves, who knows? They may not be the biggest fans of the Nilfgaardians, so maybe we can win them over a bit. Alright, let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Angren lies thousands of leagues from the sea. Yet the Imperial fleet looked chiefly to this land for wood, its ashes and oaks ideal for shipbuilding. The lumber was driven down the Yaruga to shipyards in Sintra and Atra. There, day and night, Nilfgaard's fleet grew and grew. Okay, so yes, this is basically confirmation
This is why they're here in the first place, and a reason why this outpost is important for them.
So when Meve heard axes steadily hacking, the continual grind of saws, she halted her force and quickly dispatched scouts. Indeed, they found a lumber camp, banners overhead, the great sun blazing upon them. Though not critical to her mission, Meve was nonetheless tempted to disrupt the invader however she could.
Okay. So that would suggest, again, confirmation that this is technically not on the main path. We don't need to go here per se, but if we could disrupt the outpost, then it might slow down Nilfgaard in one way or another. Not sure exactly what the long-term implications of that would be, but of course, if we're going to be fighting against Nilfgaard in the relatively near future, then shutting them down here could certainly help us. So, I don't know. On this occasion, if we march on, we very well may not be able to circle back. So I think we try it.
The Emperor awaits a mass flow of logs.
Called the Queen, drawing her sword.
But we shall send him corpses. Formation! Follow me!
When the Lyrians rushed forth with a cry on their lips, the lumberjacks dropped their axes. Their black-clad guards, though likewise surprised, formed up and stood ready for battle.
Okay, I'm curious to see what role, if any, those lumberjacks may play in this encounter. Okay, so Angren goal. The Nilfgaardian coastline extends thousands... Or is this the same description we got before? Extended for thousands of miles, so it came as no wonder the Black-clads had an insatiable appetite for the lumber of sycamores and yews. Are those the same types of trees that he mentioned previously? Because I feel like it might not have been. In order to defend such an expanse from Skellige pirates, also, not to say there are only two types of trees in a forest, but alas. So, to defend from Skellige pirates, no mention of them in quite some time, but I suppose that's theoretically something that they might still need to defend against. The Emperor needed to maintain a truly massive fleet. Its ships... Oh, okay, I see. Its ships numbering in the hundreds. Such an immense armada, however, came at a high price, costing the Empire nearly half its treasury. So, yeah, at first I thought that it was going down the lines of saying they needed to defend this specific lumber camp from Skellige raiders, and that just seemed odd, because didn't they just say that this is not anywhere near the ocean? It's near a river, yes, and that river presumably eventually reaches the sea, but, yeah, no, I don't think Skelliges are going to be attacking this lumber camp anytime soon, but they need the wood to supply and build their ships, and those ships will be built elsewhere to defend against the Skelliges. Okay, so let's start the battle. It's a shortened battle, just one round, okay. But doesn't say anything about alternate rules. I imagine we may have specific targets we need to take out or protect. So let's see. I don't think this is just going to be a super straightforward fight. Or at least, there's probably a twist here somewhere. Nilfgaardian Braveheart. Don't think we've seen that before. For every 2 units destroyed, boost self by 6 in damage. All enemy units by 2. Wow. Okay, so not sure why that has a timer 3 on it, because can it only do that 3 times? That would suggest we want to take that guy out as quickly as possible, otherwise he's going to stack quite a bit of damage. What is your ability? Damage an enemy by the number of your allied units. Cooldown 3. So theoretically, they're going to try to load up on a bunch of units on their side of the board, and if we don't destroy that Braveheart, then they are going to deal a bunch of damage to us, and he's going to get boosted a whole lot. So he's going to become much harder to take out. So I think, in that case, what we probably need to do against him... and the downside is that if you focus all of your damage on him, he's 15 power and 10 armor. That takes a fair bit to take him out. Unless you have something like Tainted Ale, where it can destroy that card regardless of how powerful it becomes. It's a little bit slow, is the issue there. So, but I think that is still the way to go. If we do that as quickly as possible, we can take that guy out as quickly as possible, and then we can focus our other damage on destroying the other units that this opponent plays, because it seems like that's the other thing they're going to do, is try to create as many units as possible. So, let's see. Blood. Remember, this is only one round. So I want to be mindful of that. Look at 5 cards, play 2, discard the rest. Could probably still work. Northern Wind can certainly be a good finisher, and if we do use Northern Wind, then we'd like to deal good damage to them. And we... Hold on. It's a normal battle. Oh, yeah, we just need to outscore them. We don't actually have anything outside of that we absolutely must do. If we have this much movement, then Gascon actually could be pretty decent. Alchemist could also be a way to weaken you or other cards. Let's see. Bomber? Don't know what row they're going to be playing on just yet. But of course, decent chance of getting solid value out of it nonetheless. I mean, this hand is pretty solid. This hand is still pretty solid. Gabor would be a nice pickup. Infiltrator to potentially put next to something like that, Braveheart. And Isbel does have a ton of damage as well. So those are the key things we're missing here. The thing is that I just am reluctant to swap out the Slingers when we have Gascon in hand, because that is a nice setup for him. This is a little bit risky. Maybe we try. Okay. Might settle for that. That is solid. And then we can try using Blood to see if we can get some of those other cards that we were saying we were missing before. No guarantees by any means, but maybe that's what we'll lean on. Okay. So I think we begin with Tainted Ale and just try to get this guy taken out before he can start getting boosted like crazy and dealing damage like crazy. I think that's probably the plan. And that means Tainted Ale first. I think that also means, okay, we get you out, that's fine. I think that also means we hold off on the leader ability, because that's not going to help dealing damage to a card that's already going to get destroyed anyway.
Order!
Okay, what's your deal? Damage enemy unit by 2 whenever an ally appears, gain 1 charge. Okay, so you're another card that's going to deal a bunch of damage. So we very well can, and very well may, and probably should use leader ability on you, unless... Gabor, how much damage is he up to nowadays? He's up to 15. So if we let this stick around, it's going to get a lot of damage over time. Can't say definitively if it's going to be the single most important thing for us to hit, but we certainly could destroy it with Gabor if we wanted to, which I think might still be worth doing. It means we're delaying the bomber a little bit, but if this is going to get destroyed and this is going to get destroyed, then we still have removed every unit that is currently, or will remove every unit that is currently on the board, so we don't know definitively which row we ought to play this in anyway. Sure, we can move around a little bit with the Slingers, but point is, this is actually not time sensitive if all these cards are functionally dead already. So let's go that route.
You sure about that?
Damage. Technically, we do have a little bit of overkill damage, which is not really going to do anything if you're destroyed anyway.
Life is mine now.
Okay, and that's another one, but again, just reducing the total number of these types of guys significantly limits the amount of damage they should be able to dish out. So I think that is still a good thing for us. And now, leader ability starts to make sense. The damage that we get from the Arbalest, if it hits you, is damage lost. And there's potentially a case to be made for actually delaying 1 more turn, so that the 4 damage we get from these guys is guaranteed to hit something that is actually helpful. We could technically remove you. Combination of Alzur's Thunder plus leader ability does destroy you. However, that is missing out on the adjacent unit damage on Alzur's Thunder, which is probably reason enough not to do that. So, might just get the bomber down, and as we were saying, we can use the Slingers to move people if necessary to get them into the row that we put the fire on, because as of right now, that would be this. And again, we case could be made for having done this. Okay, but now you get destroyed.
Gold is not yours to plunder. Be gone.
So that's definitely good. Now for the infantry, spawn base copy this unit. Every turn on turn start, summon this unit from your graveyard. Oh, it does not go away. It does not like going away. So yeah, I think that still means you are the most dangerous. So we could either use another slinger to move people around, or we could go... Or we haven't done that. No, we did do that previous turn. We do that, get you guys into the row where you take damage. I mean, we could still weaken you, but if we destroy you, then you come back out. So that's unfortunate. So we kind of want to drop you down to a low number without actually taking you out. Might just Alistair's Thunder you, though. Might just Alistair's Thunder you, though. Do that. And then, I mean, it does destroy both of you. You're going to come back out. I think that actually is best. Because we do that, I don't remember what the exact order of operations is, but if we do this, it should destroy both of you. I'm hoping that then the next thing that happens before you come out is that the Arbalest damage comes in and hits this infantry. That way we're guaranteed to get damage on a good target. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So now, what, does it come out at the start of this turn for them? Yeah, okay. What's your deal? Every turn start, boost adjacent units by one if this unit has armor. You currently have armor, and you will have armor for a while. So the card that was giving them the extra value when they destroy one of our cards was coming from the guy that we destroyed, right? For every 2 units destroyed, boost self by 6. Okay, oh, that's why the timer was there. So, after having gotten rid of that, we don't need to be too worried about this going down. So I'm not too concerned there. Okay. We can and probably should move you around with the Slinger. So we're getting cards in this row that we actually want to be damaged by the fire. Alternatively, we could get a preemptive Gascon down. Technically, that is better, I suppose. There's some risk that he gets answered in some way.
Painful this'll be.
Would like for him to stay alive. The reason why I'm playing this now, though, it's a little preemptive, but that way if they play one more card, we can move 3 cards. Like, if they play something else in the melee row, which is probably what they'll do, to avoid taking the fire damage, we then go Slinger, move 3 things into the flaming row, and that's the way that we would prefer to make that happen. Okay, and we prefer for that not to die, to tell you the truth. Alright. But I suppose... Either way, just do this. That's gonna come back.
Back in line.
What's your deal? Damage ally by 4, boost all their allies by 1. Fortunately, we have gotten rid of many of their cards, so we reduced the value of that a bit, but by destroying something that's gonna automatically come back, you can see where the value in that comes from. We should definitely move... we'd like to move you into this row, because you are a card that actually can get damaged and outright destroyed. This might be the turn in which we play Blood, and just see what we get out of this. Let's see. Wow, Isabel has no setup whatsoever. So if we get an Alchemist, set unit equals to the power of the unit on its left. So we could make you a 4... make you a 5. Should have put a smaller card next to Gascon. I kind of just hit him from other units, thinking more in Gwent multiplayer mode rather than Thronebreaker mode. But yeah, I guess we will still go for this though. Okay, plenty of choices here. Infiltrator. Could put it next to the Slave Driver. It's not bad. They do seem to have ways to boost their own cards. Of course, if they destroy one of their own units and choose to destroy our Infiltrator, then that is bad news for us. So that is still a bit risky. Could set fire to this row. I mean, these are going to be even more movement in this case, but that would mean more boost for Gascon, so that's not terrible. I think Barnabas is definitely going to be one of them. That much is pretty safe to say. It's maybe a little late for the Bomber. I think Slinger is maybe the safe approach, given how we know we have Gascon. I know I was reluctant to use these Slingers, but we can go pretty crazy with the movement in this case. And if we are going to move people out of this row, then we can move them back in if necessary. And why don't we move the weaker ones so that we don't accidentally destroy them. Okay, then Barnabas. We'll put you here.
Sorry,
Let's see.
Turnips back for an encore.
Boost 2 allies by 2, give them immune. We don't really have any allies that absolutely must stay on the board, besides, I guess, Gascon to a certain extent. So, I mean, it's not a huge play. Draw and play 2 Blitz units from our deck. I do not think we have many Blitz units. You are... Remember, these are not actually in our deck. So our units are Isabel, who's not Blitz. You are not Blitz. You are not Blitz. We don't have a single Blitz unit in our deck, so this is worth 0. Damage 3 units by 3 if already damaged. Destroy them instead. Oh, hold on. No! Cards that come back automatically when they get destroyed. So that means 0 value on those. We'd have to hit these guys. I mean, that might still be the best approach. Because that's what? 6 value? And then it weakens your armor, which might lead to more damage from the fire later on. Otherwise, it's 4 and safety on Gascon. It's such a small difference. Might even just go for the magical barrier to protect Gascon. Might even just go for this. To protect you. Is there anyone else we really need to protect? I mean, in case they try to destroy the Stray's Bomber, I guess? Yeah, but we might want to use an Alchemist on you, so maybe not. Sure, Gabor. And remember, we can still swap these guys out into other things as well. Not necessarily sure there's going to be huge value on that. Alright, I didn't put the immunity on that. At first, I totally thought that I did, and I was very surprised that it got destroyed that quickly. But, okay. So, it's going to be maybe an Alchemist, which would not get the deployability. Isbel, why? Wait, damage? Enemies at random by the total damage taken during this battle, which is way more than 0. Why is she showing up as 0? I forget. Does her number not update while she's in deck for some reason? I mean, or at least visually does not update, even if in truth, once we play her, she will have a higher number than that. That I'm not sure about. Okay. Well, I think at least for the moment, we are moving people back into the flamey row, and for the most part, we are trying to make that be cards that we don't think we're going to destroy to the fire, but, I mean, any of these guys are fairly likely to be destroyed, and once we play Northern Wind, absolutely will be destroyed. Oh, you are boosting and chasing units, right? So there's something to be said for moving you. Okay. So, oh, and I totally forgot about leader ability as well. That we probably had that back for a while now. I just completely blanked out on it. Okay. Do we have anything that's lined up here, or could we line things up more with the slinger? If we drop you down to 6, we could hit both of you. Still have both of our Arbalists on the board, right? So we might accidentally destroy some cards. It's unlikely, but theoretically possible. What if we go...
Thing about slings.
Oh, wait, hold on. We should use this. If we get Isbel, we need to do it with 1 turn to spare, so that she can use her order ability, assuming that it is not actually a 0-point ability. So let's do that now. That is still going to go to their side of the board, isn't it? I think we've determined that that does in fact happen. So that is the worst. That was a negative point play in that case. Hopefully that is not the deciding factor, because this is actually a pretty close encounter. So that would really, really freaking stink. But that's definitely not going to happen here, because it's either Isbel or an Alchemist. So at worst, it's a 1-point improvement, because these will get boosted by 1 from the Horn. Isbel will be the same amount of points, but assuming that order ability is worth more than 0. Still pause the play? Okay, it's a 1-point play. Sure. Alright, so... That is very unfortunate. But now, we should move you here. I'm just questioning whether we should move you out of that row to minimize the effectiveness of that ability. So we go there. We go... I don't remember order of operations wise. Guess we'll still do this. I want to make sure that it's just you in this row, at least for the time being. I couldn't remember if the order in which we click on units affects where they show up, what order they get moved, in which case, can we, by clicking on this last, make sure that it's on the end of that row, so it's at least only boosting one card every turn, but by putting this row by itself, obviously, it's not boosting anything right now, unless they play other stuffs. We did, however, in doing that, significantly damage some of their cards and risk that we might destroy some stuff when we use this. We're going to go for the 12s, I think. Which they won't get destroyed. Okay, actually, that was very fortunate, the damage there. And Northern Wind might be very good here. Okay, what do they still have?
Fight for the Emperor and you might be freed.
Okay, so this... Actually, is that not going to have time to go back onto the other side of the board? It might just barely not have time. Which would be great. Do this, because why not? It does power up Gascon slightly. Then Northern Wind should be very powerful. 4 damage on everything that is already damaged. The problem is that that is going to destroy some stuff. And this is actually going to get stronger when it comes back. As will that. These will get damaged but not destroyed, which is good unless the fire might finish them off. So it's actually, it's not perfect by any means. But I am assuming that that is still going to pay off. Does mean we have a pretty large lead here. The fire did, I think, destroy almost all of them. They will steal one of our cards, but hold on. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. We're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Nilfgaard's ranks folded. Soldiers fled in fright, stumbling over felled trees and corpses. The air was heavy with the scent of resin and blood. As she caught her breath, the queen looked about. Hundreds of trees lay cut down in rows. Oak and ash enough to keep the shipyards working till winter.
Again, they changed the kind of trees on us. I did notice. This, however, might be the moment that I anticipated we would find ourselves in where, okay, sure, we've turned off the Nilfgaardians, yes. Now there is potentially an opportunity for us to use this lumber camp to help set up our own army with a bunch of supplies that could be useful for our war effort. On the other hand, because we just had these druids join our team, I think we need to be careful how much we support chopping down trees. Otherwise, they may get very mad at us, and that could backfire.
Ordered the lumber requisitioned, yet one of the loggers approached her. A man with a face like old leather, sawdust in his hair.
Good lady, I know you war hard against Nilfgaard. I know you'd keep timber out of their hands, but then see, we won't get paid. We'll see no coin till Sintra's shipyards see lumber. It's what the Blacklads said. I beg you, have mercy. We're simple folk. Been slaving since spring, got families to feed. And hunger looms ever close in wartime.
Okay. This is not the downside that I anticipated we'd have to deal with. So we can leave the lumber to be driven west to the ports. Basically, allow this operation to continue. They can still sell their lumber to Nilfgaard, which means we did not actually thwart Nilfgaard's war efforts here at all. The downside to that is that, well, the downside is that Nilfgaard is still fully benefiting from this. So we could requisition the wood ourselves. Wait, hold on. Hit for the wood, take it. That costs us 400 gold. It's, I assume we actually get the wood ourselves. It doesn't say how much it's worth. Not entirely sure what the difference between this and Requisition the Wood is, to be honest. I think we might just go for this. Again, not sure to what extent that might make the druids mad. I mean, if this is supposed to mean that we're trying to keep the operation running and we're just... Like, is this a one-time deal? Whereas this is a long-term arrangement where we just take the Nilfgaardian's place and we are the ones buying the wood going forward? Not again, this line is blurry for me, but I think we go for this route.
Meve looked at the logger's hands. Thick scars, crisscrossed fingers twisted by years of axe work.
This wood I cannot allow to reach Nilfgaardian shipyards.
She said.
Yet neither can I let you go hungry. I shall take the wood and pay you from my own purse.
Okay, I mean, we did have, I don't know if gold to spare is the right way to phrase it. We had a reasonable amount of gold. Okay, so it did raise our troops' morale. That is good, because it was neutral. Now it's back up to high. I am not sure if that number went up. I'm not sure if that number went up. I feel like it did not, in which case that was a very expensive price to pay just for increasing our morale. So I would hope that that means if there are any long-term implications to having chosen to go that route, that we do benefit from those long-term implications, because that, I think, is really the only way you could justify the pretty steep price that we just paid. Of course, we'll see what else we can do to make back some of the costs here. I'm half expecting still for one of these dead ends to have a hidden chest in it. But okay, hold on. A little bit more. We're almost at 2,000, but yeah, that was pricey.
You've a big heart, my lady. Not many folk like you, especially not in Angren. A land bedeviled in many ways.
Okay.
You've a big heart, my lady. Not many folk like you. Blisters on me hands from all this work. Weren't enough the cons on me feet, ye gods.
Oh, we can chat with this guy as well?
Never ends, I tell you. We'll never finish this blasted work. Work, work, work. And do I see anything from it? Even a measly bloody crumb? Got blisters on me hands from all this work.
Okay.
Weren't enough the
Doesn't seem like anything else from him. So, we got a decent amount of wood just from looting the area. Granted, presumably we still would have been able to do that even if we had not chosen the option that we opted to go with. So, still some question as to how effective that might prove to be. I think, again, it really is just going to all come down to what the long-term benefits of supporting the lumberjacks might be, or denying Nilfgaardians the supplies, which obviously I have no idea at this stage. But just taking a look ahead here, I think that we may be looking to take on these battles in the near future. I mean, we might be able to double back here on a later occasion if those prove to be things that we want to delay. There is still that way up here, which, I mean, this looks like faces in the stone, which is odd. So maybe we try that out. Otherwise, going straight down this way, I don't think it's that far to the next main quest location, to be honest, because it's a pretty skinny little path here. Not too many ways to make detours. I mean, maybe there'll be an encounter in, you know, these few settled locations there, but we'll see. We'll see. Either way, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.